How's everybody doing today? This is LA Kendrick with another tale of Would You Dare? Now, again, we're doing these stories just to stay active and keep the mind sharp while I'm finishing up the next version of the Benefits of a Bully, the next installment, which will be the third installment, and trying to get the Foes of God out to close out the Destiny versus Chaos series. But in the meantime, between time, here's another story from the vault. This thing is called the Ripper, and it's a creature of unknown origin. What it does, it lurks around buildings, around sewage drains, pipes, things like that. And it looks for it's trying to make sure that it's basically a predator. And it waits for you to be unaware, to catch you unawares, right? That's why I always tell people, be mindful of your surroundings. And so basically it waits under your cars is where it is the primary source, because it knows most people are not going to be paying attention and looking around and paying attention under their vehicles. You just want to get in and go, especially if it's dark outside. You're not even thinking about looking under the vehicle to make sure that it's okay and it's safe. But what it does is it slashes your Achilles tendon, sometimes one or sometimes the other. It lets you flop around and crawl around while you're in panic mode, and then it grabs you and drags you into wherever. Rumor has it that it usually eats you completely and shares you with the nest, but sometimes it takes the remaining skin and makes like a bed out of it. So it sleeps on human flesh or even animal carcasses and animal skin. So let's get this story popping. Our story starts with a powerful executive, CEO, founder of Flesh Tone Pharmaceuticals. Now, this guy thinks he's God and all powerful, but he's been caught violating a lot of treaties and health organization sanctions. He's really been he's really a mess. And he's been experimenting on everything from animals to the environment to further his billion-dollar industry. And he goes on to fire everybody in his firm so he can relocate his business elsewhere. We don't know where, but elsewhere. Probably another country, probably even the Mars expedition when it goes out. But he's filthy rich because he was filthy. And he's in his high rise looking out, proud of his accomplishments and what he's done and how many people he's walked over and crushed and left beneath his feet, families and lives he's destroyed. He's cool with that. He loves it. He loves it. He's very cool with that. So he's got his drink in his hand and he can see all the hoopla and tragedy and toxic environment that encompasses his business that he's trying to liquidate, so he can't be held liable for what has happened. So he's watching this stuff happen on the TV, and he's like, okay, enough is enough. He takes another sip of his drink, sets his drink down on the table, looks around at his establishment, and just thinks about how he's thinking basically on how he's going to reinvent himself. And so he gets in the elevator, and there's a lady in the elevator. She's got a box full of things, her belongings. I'm assuming that these belongings are, how when you get let go or you get fired from a company, you take all your personal items and you leave. And so she's going down. He's trying to go up to get to his helicopter so he can fly out in style. You know how those big wigs try to do, always trying to show the world how powerful and special they are. Well, the lady's having a discussion with him, and she's letting him know, hey, don't you think it's kind of messed up what you've done to the people that have worked hard and slaved and helped you establish what you've done, and you just fire everybody and cut them loose? And he says, well, I gave you guys a nice severance package. She's like, yeah, but what happens when we try to go get another job? Our names have been tainted because we work with your company, your corporation. He says, well, that's just tough. Maybe you can live off the unemployment. She said, yeah, if you don't fight us for it. Because a lot of big companies will fight you for unemployment, even though they've done you wrong. And they're clearly in the wrong. Like they're paying into it. Like you're the one that's paying into it. They act like they own the unemployment office or whatever that is. And she's letting him know, hey, there's always somebody bigger, badder, meaner, nastier than you out there in the world. And you will be no exception. And karma always comes for those who thinks that they're better and above people. When you live wicked, you die wicked. And she's shuffling, trying to hold on to her box. He's like, yeah, whatever. But when it comes, I won't even see it. If there is anything bigger and nastier than me, which I doubt. Hell, I've probably created some of these things that you're talking about, lady. But as it is, thank you for your services. Now the elevator comes to a stop. He's walking out. He's very arrogant and he's walking out, adjusting his suit and his tie, and he walks out. And he tries to turn around and speak to the lady as he's trying to turn around. And when he does, he notices there's just an empty box. There's just her box there, not an empty box, but the elevator's empty and her box is just there with her supplies in it. And he's trying to figure out what's going on. And before he knows it, the elevator door closes. And when it closes, he realizes he's on the bottom floor. Now he tries to push the button to get the elevator to go back to the top, and it won't go back up. It stays at the bottom. And of course, he's a billionaire, so he's got plenty of cars in the garage in the bottom. But that's not how he wanted to leave. And it's dark, and he can kind of hear shuffling running around in the darkness. And then he hears out of nowhere, a man that rules as a heartless king will find himself buried beneath his palace. And he says, who says that? Who said that? It's the same lady's voice, but she's not there. He uses his keyless entry, and it makes that bigger noise. And the car lights up on the car that he wants to get into. And he can hear that scurrying around. So he's a little nervous, so he speeds his pace up a little bit, trying to get to the vehicle. And as he does, he notices he looks at his the cell phone that he has. He doesn't have any reception. And that's kind of unusual because he's got some of the best tech out there. By hook or by crook, he's got some of the best tech out there. And so he stands outside the vehicle and he holds his phone, one leg still in the car and one leg out of the car. And he holds his phone up trying to get better reception. And as soon as he does, he feels this hot burning sensation. And his Achilles tendon is slashed. He falls to the ground. Blood's pouring from his leg. And he's yelling in pain. And they can hear this low growl. He's looking around. He can't see what it is. He tries to adjust, through the pain, and tries to push through the pain. He tries to adjust. And just as he is about to push the button to have the light on his cell phone illuminate the area, he's drug off into the darkness screaming. Funny thing is, when he finally comes to, he looks at the date on the phone. Miraculously, the cell phone is still in his hand. Imagine that. Maybe it was placed there. But he realizes that a couple of days have passed. He's thinking, yes, somebody will come looking for him. He's a big, important man. And so he starts to smell all of this stink, like dead, rotting flesh, something rancid. So he starts to try to drag himself out from under these piles of bones. He realizes he's under a pile of bones. He tries to drag himself out from under it. And when he does, he noticed that his ankle is still stinging and sort of healed. So what he does, he tries to wrap his leg. So he takes off his necktie and he wraps his leg. He stumbles forward. He takes a knee. He tries to stand up and test his leg and see how much mobility he has. It's got very limited. Can't run. He can hop pretty fast, but he can't run. And he turns on his light, and now he's horrified at what he's seeing. Dead bodies everywhere. Decaying. Beds that appear to be made of skin, human flesh. And he hears this low growl behind him. And he turns his light slowly behind him, and he can see it. This thing is coming for him, but it's stalking him and moving very methodically. He takes 2 steps back. It takes 1 step forward. He takes 3 steps back, and it doesn't move. He looks around for an escape, and he sees a service ladder. He realizes the schematics of this building, and it's his building. He hasn't even left his building. No one even knows where to look for him. So he climbs up the ladder, looking back, terrified, doing the best he can with the one leg. He can hear that lady's voice in his head. He gets to the top, opens the hatch. When he opens the hatch, he thinks he's made it because he can see an exit sign. But then he shines his light around the room. More bodies, more flesh. And what he sees chills him to his soul. There are dozens of those creatures, and they look hungry. And they crawl to him and they surround him. And his battery life on his cell phone goes out. And all you can hear the man, the CEO, the big, powerful, important predator of people, ruler of the world in his mind, ruiner of lives. All you can hear is him screaming in the darkness as he's being ripped and torn to shreds. And that's it. That's it, everybody. That is today's episode of Would You Dare? Remember, like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get these subs up to 50. Once we get them up to 50, we can actually do live videos. And with the live videos, what we can do from there is have you guys come in with your Q and answers and just maybe even share some of your own stories. And we can go from there. But like, share, subscribe, comment, please comment. And again, I'm 5 shy of having 50 followers on this so that we can get that thing popping, okay? So remember, check your closets, check under your bed, and by all means, check under your cars if you work late at night or work into the dark hours of the morning, because you never know what's waiting to make you a story. And this concludes our episode of Would You Dare?